your latest news update from Western Mass News.
I'm Chris Pisano with a look at your headlines. Western Mass marking the 59th anniversary of President John F. Kennedy's death. Local leaders, including Congressman Richard Neal, paying their respects at a ceremony Tuesday afternoon at the Eternal Flame in Forest Park. The event is held each year to honor the president's memory on the day of his assassination. A driver charged with reckless homicide after his SUV crashed into an Apple store in Hingham, killing one person and injuring 20 others. 53-year-old Bradley Rain was arrested hours after his vehicle barreled into the store Monday morning. According to police reports, Rain told officers that, quote, his right foot became stuck on the accelerator. He was held on $100,000 bail after his arraignment. And President Biden announcing the extension of the pause on federal student loan repayments. It comes as the White House fights a legal battle to save the president's plan to cancel portions of the debt. The moratorium was slated to expire January 1st. The pause will now extend 60 days after the lawsuit is resolved. If it's not resolved by June 30th, the payments will resume 60 days after that.
I'm meteorologist Jana Brown. The check of your forecast. Sunshine is back for Wednesday along with seasonable temperatures. Highs look to climb back into the middle and upper 40s with a light breeze. Thanksgiving Day is also looking dry and sunny with a high near 48. Breeze is light and variable throughout the day, and we'll see a few scattered high clouds around. Those clouds will build Thursday night, and our next weather maker is on tap to wrap up the week. For Black Friday, it looks like for the early morning shoppers, your conditions will be dry and chilly, but we've got rain arriving midday. It looks to stay on the light side with only a few hundredths of an inch expected. Then we get a break on Saturday, more sunshine on tap. But then we're watching another area of low pressure that approaches New England on Sunday, and this looks to bring a bigger swath of rain, especially for Sunday midday and afternoon. And that could definitely snarl traffic, especially the I-95 corridor through the northeast and mid-Atlantic. Looking at the 10-day forecast, Saturday again beautiful. It's also mild, 54. Sunday rainy, but 52. We're windy Sunday night. We turn colder early next week. Temperatures look seasonable to start off December, but we may have some wet or wintry weather.
Stay with Western Mass News on air, online, and on our app throughout the day for breaking news, weather, and exclusive content.